Welcome into the Cam and Strick podcast, episode number 38. I'm Andy Strickland.
What up?
Cam
what up?
Jansen is
what
over
up?
here.
What up?
What up, Cam?
What up? What up, ho? I didn't mean to say that.
Oh, my God.
No. Time
Michael
out.
Jordan calls
That's why
everyone
I did
hoes.
That's why I did that. I don't know. You're a male ho. I'm not talking about the female ones. You're a male. Why is he doing that?
Be careful. Because, see, did you go to public school or private school?
What do I
Did you have
look
any
like?
diversity in your school whatsoever?
No, but why are you calling it's just weird.
That's
It's
just
weird.
kind of like a statement like
you a hoe.
You're not going to make that hoe. Come on over here, hoe. Like,
But what is a male hoe? Like, I look at Steve Kerr.
a
I'm
male
like, you
hoe
could be one.
is like a fool almost, or like
Yeah, you're a fool.
Like,
Yeah.
or like a mother. Yeah.
Like, whoa, Jesus,
Like,
I got some.
You're not. Hey, you're not
damn.
gonna, come over here with that hoe. Like
Huh, here's the ball.
But he just throws hoe. Like the sentence is over,
he's
and all of a
just-
sudden he throws in hoe.
He just runs the show. He
Hoe-
runs the show, dude.
The word hoe with subtitles is one of the greatest things.
Oh
ever.
my God, I'm watching. I'm like, did he call him a hoe?
Oh, I know.
I'm
Subtitles.
like, that's got to be degrading as shit.
How's your reading, by the way? Okay.
I don't read no good, no how. Of course I do. I do is read all day.
Hoe, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
When you're calling someone a hoe.
H-O-E-H.
No.
I know. It's H-O-E.
No, it's not.
It's hoe?
H-O.
No shit.
Yeah. When you call someone a hoe.
You a
so
hoe.
I'm gonna start calling you a hoe on this show. Actually, all
Go
the
ahead.
time.
I'm thinking, hey, fuck.
'Cause you
MJ's calling some cool cats hoes.
kind of
I'm
are
like,
a
shit,
hoe.
yeah. I was.
How about MJ shooting a movie and he gets all the biggest stars
And they scrimmage.
in the game? Like, not just some random NBA players.
Big boys.
Like, if you were to put together, like, an NHL skate, you maybe have some guys who played in the league. He's bringing in, like,
I put on a good
Hall
skate,
of
dude.
Famers, though,
I know.
who come to Universal Studios, and they're all just going
And
hard.
they filmed all day. They filmed for 8 hours, 10 hours straight. And then he's like fucking 3-hour practice with Ewan,
Ewing, ho.
Peyton.
It's Ewing, ho.
You a hoe. Gary, who's Reggie Miller?
Gary Payton.
Fucking
Gary
Gary
Payton's
Payton got
cool.
owned. Gary Payton got owned in that though.
But he was... They were
He a
down.
hoe.
They were down 3-0. Gary Payton. I can listen to Gary Payton talk all day long, though, dude.
Dude, all these guys are the coolest fucking guys in the world. Why
do
I love them so
I
much?
want to be an NBA player.
I hate the NBA now. I can't get into it.
you
They're all
hate
so
it?
fucking nerdy. Stop. Look at LeBron compared to MJ. MJ sitting with a fucking cigar doing a shit like what?
Drinking
What?
bourbon that you
Drinking-
like. By the way, in the interview with
No, it's
JR
fucking
coming up, you
tequila.
kept saying tequila
Because he owns his own tequila
doesn't
company.
matter.
It's
he
tequila.
Probably owns a bourbon
It's dark
company
kid-
too.
So what? I don't give a shit what it is. He's chilling with his fucking feet up like fuck everything. I'm the man. I don't give a shit what you say on Twitter. I don't give a shit about anything. I don't give a shit about petty shit. Although I am somewhat petty at a lot of different things. He is so damn cool, and the rest of those guys are. I like the old NBA shit. A lot of people could say they like the old NHL stuff. But damn, I feel like the NHL is like going in a different direction. Fast, skilled. Is the NBA more skilled than it was in the 90s? Because in the 90s, it was 10 times cooler. So what are they doing better now? The NHL is getting faster. What's the NBA doing?
The NBA is.
Huh? Go
no,
ahead.
Listen,
How?
the NBA is as popular as it's been since Jordan left.
Really?
Yes, super popular. If you talk to kids who are teenagers, dude, they love the NBA.
They love LeBron. And LeBron's a sweetheart of a guy, too.
Yeah,
Don't
but
get,
no,
but
no,
he's nerdy.
But it's not just him. It's the Golden State Warriors. It's Stephon Curry. It's Kevin
They're
Durant.
boring. They're shooting threes left and right. Like no one's going to the rim.
No, but
no one's controversial.
But
like, what's up?
they were a dynasty. They were pretty interesting to watch. Pretty exciting to watch.
But I think that, and again, this
So
is
you're
coming
not
from
an
an
NBA
athlete.
fan?
No, I'm not an NBA fan. I don't even know the NBA. We didn't have NBA in St. Louis. I'm a hockey guy, and it is what it is. But I still did my shit with no athletes, I guess. I see how Jordan was, and I just don't see another Jordan. I don't see another Rodman. I don't see that group of guys. I don't see those 90s NBA guys. Like, fuck, they were just so cool. Magic Johnson was cool. He's more 80s than anything.
But, dude, you could say the same thing about the
I
NHL.
know.
Look at Wayne Gretzky's wedding, dude. He had like a royal wedding.
I know. But my point is, the NHL is getting faster. It's getting more skilled. Everybody in the NHL is fast, skilled. No, listen to me. And the game is getting better in a way. Now, it sounds tough, and we're missed that. But where's the NBA going in a cooler way than it was in the 90s?
How you just described the NHL is exactly how the NBA is going. It's not
it faster?
It's not
Can
as
you prove
tough.
that?
It's
Can you
not
prove
as
that?
physical. But the athletes
The
are out
NBA
of
was the
this
fastest
world,
in the
dude.
70s and 80s. I went through this today.
Time out, dude.
The NBA was faster with a ball movement in the
God,
80s and
what do you-
70s.
The ball movement, maybe, but dude, you didn't have seven-footers.
Pace of play.
7-footers who were putting the ball on the floor and just crossing you over
God,
and
why
shooting
am I talking?
and shooting
why am I talking
three-pointers.
basketball?
Don't go there.
Why am I talking? I'm sorry, guys.
You'll lose this argument.
I'm going to lose everything. I am so sorry.
Dude,
I'm going to get fucking beat for this, and I'm sorry.
Kevin Durant, 7-footer, dude.
Sorry.
He will put the ball on the floor.
I don't give a shit.
Cross you over, and then drill a 3 in your face, and then dunk on you. It's a different game, dude.
Until St. Louis has a fucking NBA team, I don't give a shit.
Oh, is that how you handle it when you're wrong?
I'm going to go back and talk to JR about partying with MJ and Dennis Rodman.
Oh, my God.
That's all I care about. Get on with yourself.
But just admit you lost this.
I lose every argument. Jesus. That's my wife.
Could you see Patrick Ewing and David Robinson just like drilling threes? Like Kevin Garnett and Kevin Durant?
Or Jordan smoking a fucking stogie like on the fucking jet, like sit down everybody. I run the fucking show. LeBron's doing Taco Tuesday while Jordan's fucking chilling. He is just, there's no comparison in my opinion.
There is, well, I'll give you that. There's no comparison between LeBron and Mike.
I mean, come on.
In terms of who they are.
How can you not compare the two? That's how everybody does.
I'm just saying the game of basketball, just like hockey, how they're faster and whatever, less physical. Though? You don't have the playoff series like you did between the Pistons and the Bulls and the Pistons and the Celtics where they were killing each other, and then you don't even get tossed out of the game. You hardly even get a technical. Yeah. Okay,
like fucking spitting on each other. Like, get on with yourself.
All right, but now everybody just high flying dunks and the art of being able to shoot the ball from the outside. 53s. That's almost completely gone. Yeah. You got guys who can hit, who can shoot, and they're sharp shooters. But the reality is, the fundamentals of the game have taken a hit in the NBA because guys are so athletic and just rely on their athleticism.
Let's do a basketball podcast.
We should.
Let's do a basketball podcast.
We'll get Roenick on there.
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking. I apologize for talking about. Seriously, I apologize.
But kids
to
love it. Kids love basketball, the NBA,
it's entertaining,
and the NHL in NHL cities, especially here. Yep. People don't like to hear this, but having kids who are in elementary school and picking kids up and dropping them off, all the kids are wearing blue stuff. All of them.
Everywhere.
Hats, T-shirts,
the girls
sweatshirts.
In this town are wearing blue stuff.
Girls.
Oh, my God.
And then they'll wear NBA stuff as well. Golden State Warriors.
I don't give a shit.
I don't see as much baseball stuff, man, as we used to see
when
we were kids.
I don't see NBA shit in St. Louis. No one cares about NBA in St. Louis.
Stuff?
No one cares about it. The only thing they... No.
Get off of your boat.
Where do you live?
What are you talking about?
You live in a poor part of Ladue. Sit down, son.
Where do you live?
Who are you kidding? NBA? What? No one even gives a fuck about NBA.
Do.
Get out of here. They care about college and high school basketball here. That's it. NBA. I don't know one person that gives a shit about NBA. They care about Michael Jordan and they care about Jeremy Roenick talking about Michael Jordan.
Out.
Thank God we just got that done with that fucking podcast.
Have you seen the ratings for NBA games
in
St.
Louis?
Louis?
Get on with yourself.
They're through the roof. And I'll have the numbers for you next podcast.
And I'm gonna get ripped for it, and that's fine. I'll read the comments.
Dude, you're over.
I'm a man.
You're 0 for 3.
Am I today?
Yes.
You didn't hear my radio show then?
No.
I'm 0 for 7.
I definitely didn't hear your radio show.
You're good enough. You had one every day too, but you only have one 1 day a week.
Only
1 day a week for Andy.
I make more in 1 day a week than you do in 5 days.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, that's 100%
homie.
true. 100%.
I don't think.
100%.
You're the backup fucking keyboard player in this fucking band.
You better use that.
You're the backup keyboard. I'm going to keep using it.
You can't use it more than
once. You're
the
backup keyboard player. That doesn't go on the
fucking road. Who doesn't go on the
road? You don't even get per diem.
Oh, God.
All right. Sorry about talking about NBA. It's just JR's talking about MJ. Like, that's the hot topic, baby. Mm-hmm. So we had to do it. And we got into JR.
And he flew. Would you go on a plane right now?
I said.
I would.
So right when he goes, he's like,
I'm ready to travel.
I'm ready to party. I'm ready to spend money at bars. Am I ready to go to a gosh dang airport and be like, oh, hi, sit next to me, breathe on me. Can you cough on me? No, I don't want that.
Just go ahead and cough.
No, I don't want that.
Go ahead and cough on me.
Cough on me. Oh, thanks.
And will you rub your fingers
Rub your
all over
touch my face. and that stupid fucking mask you're wearing, it ain't doing shit.
You don't think?
Get a fucking hazmat suit. And then I'll be like, fuck yeah, sit next to me, baby.
Right.
What's up?
So I had a lady make me, and she dropped them off, like a blues.
They don't work.
A blues mask.
They don't work.
Like, do these masks,
do
they work or not?
No! I'm a scientist. They don't work. I don't know if scientists really could... I don't know if that's a proper term.
I think they do a little bit.
They don't work.
Well, why do all the nurses and doctors wear them?
I don't know.
That's a dumb comment.
Could be a dumb comment. I could be 0 for 8 today.
I think there's certain kinds
I think it works to a certain extent, but I don't trust you wearing a mask and still breathing next to me, homie.
T-shirts tied around their face, that probably doesn't work.
See, that's what I do.
But
I take my pants off and tie it around my face. Scare everybody away. They're not going near me, especially in the airport.
They would be scared.
JR's awesome, by the way. He's fucking awesome.
Roenick?
He gave us. He brought the heat, dude. It is what it is.
He wouldn't return your text messages, but
God, why is that?
I got him on the show.
Why is that? You think?
I don't know.
Why are they answering your calls? Again, you're the backup keyboard player, but you still text these cats and they get back to you, and I'm like,
right.
I'm like, did I sound goofy on that? I'm like, like it's like texting a girl back in the day and being like, oh, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And she doesn't text you back. You're like, God, and then
I text her.
It didn't happen much. It didn't happen much.
We're at the movies the next night. Okay.
Okay. You're better at asking questions than me, but don't go down that road.
What do you mean? Boy. They don't get back to you.
$400 under my belt.
What is
$400 under my belt, and I stopped for like 5 years.
$400 what?
And I stopped for 5 years.
$400 what?
$400 under my belt.
Your kills?
Could be. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
400?
From juniors to I mean a lot.
I need a mask.
I don't know. That's not good. Kate's gonna love this conversation. She knew what was up. No, there's a lot.
Can I tell you the difference though, Cam and I? Like my wife, she doesn't listen to the podcast. She hardly watches the games when they're on TV, unless it's the playoffs. She will watch. I'll walk in the door after every game, and she says, "Who won the game?" Maybe she turns on the post-game show, possibly.
Yeah.
I feel like your wife, she's all in everything you do.
Yeah, I know. Well, she worries about me. Absolutely.
When you're doing a radio show or a podcast?
Well, I take it to the edge here and there. I talk about 400 kills. She's going to love that.
I think she's a fan.
Well, how can you not be?
Well, I'm just saying that's what
human.
It is.
And
she's not worried about you. She wants to listen to what you have to say.
I think there's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of both, like easy. No, because she's like, Candy, you gotta go a little bit easier on things.
Last thing for you before we get to JR.
Yeah.
Players who have reservations about leaving their families for a few weeks to play games.
Jesus Christ.
Do you have a message for them, please?
Yeah, let's go.
Stop.
Say, look, my family. Fuck, get away from your kids. Like, what are you kid?
Put a mask on.
Put a mask on. They all work. Come on,
just get back to playing?
Money. Let's go.
Do you want to make money next year and the year after that and the year after that?
Let's go. But my family, we're all dealing with it. We're all dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
We deal with it when we go to the Schnooks. I live next to my parents. I do worry about them a little bit. But damn.
Nobody knows what Schnooks is who's listening.
It doesn't matter.
Except
it's a grocery
St. Louis
store.
People.
Look, it's easy for us to say that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But on the other hand, I don't feel sorry for them.
All right.
And if they say no, I'm like, okay, let's go.
All right. This podcast is always brought to you by Bellman.com, BEHLMANN.com. Get yourself a new car. Cadillac, Buick GMC, right across the street. You got the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Stop on by, say hi to our boy Dale. Give Dale a shout out.
Damn right.
And say hi to our boy Dan Bellman as well. Get yourself some new wheels in time for the summer. And if you're thinking ahead to the winter, go ahead and get yourself a winterized vehicle,
too.
Get
both. They're both
Get
good.
both.
Like, you have a sunroof.
I would get 2 cars.
Get fucking 4-wheel drive and have a sunroof. Andy thinks he's going to Escalade, but he's not.
I would get an Escalade. From doing 1 show a week, I would get an Escalade. You, from doing like 5 shows a week, can't even afford the...
he's got 1 show at 4 o'clock after my Friday show.
What's it called? Like the Ford Bolt?
You have 1 show a week after my Friday show. After I talk about all hockey and everybody wants...
all hockey.
You have to get fucking Lou Lamoriello on to talk for people to listen.
Come on now.
I'm shooting a shit with fucking myself.
That's so true.
My buddies, I want to come on my show, and it's still more entertaining.
Bellman.com. Check that out.
Yep.
And, of course, Cope24.com, changing our parenting experience. 1 case at a time, man. Yeah. She's doing great things.
Oh, God. She's awesome, by the way.
We love Renee Howitt.
Yep.
And, Cam, I got a special announcement here on the Cam and Strick podcast. A very special announcement.
Big boys coming through.
Big boys.
Big boys.
You know, we said, hey, are you interested in coming on board? You want to sponsor the podcast? You want to advertise with us? You want to link up with us? Car Shield.
Oh, Nick Hamilton, local guy, too.
Yes.
Damn.
They are killing it.
Killing it.
All over the world.
Yes.
These guys. Car Shield. We'll have more about them as we move along, but we just wanted to give them a nice little Cam and Strick podcast. Welcome.
Big hockey people. Right there, baby. That's
big
what
supporters
we do.
of the podcast, and we got lots more to tell you about Car Shield as well as we continue moving on. All right, Jeremy Roenick, man, he's been through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he has.
You know, he had some personal stuff that he went through.
Yeah.
Haven't seen him as much on television. We'll be seeing him more coming soon. He tells us what he's up to, how he got through some of the adversity that he's faced over the course of the last few months, and what life looks like moving forward for Jeremy Roenick, former NHL superstar.
Oh, big time.
With us here on the Cam and Strick podcast. Enjoy.
How was the plane ride? How was the airport? Like, were people wearing masks the whole time? Were you kind of freaked out?
I'm not freaked out, period. But, you know, the airports are very scarce. You know, they're probably at 40% of what you normally see. Walking around the airport, I would say 90% of everybody. Now, remember, I was in California, so that's a whole new world and different world from what a lot of us live in. So, there's probably 90% of the people were wearing masks, but once you got on the plane, you're required to wear the masks. So, it was frustrating, but pretty easy knowing that there's really not a lot of people, waiting in lines and meandering through the airport. So, it was what it was.
So what are you doing? You traveling? You on vacation, JR? You going golfing? What's forcing you to travel right now?
Actually drove out to San Diego the other day because my son is graduating from the University of San Diego. So we had to help him move out of his apartment and had the opportunity to see some friends that we haven't seen in a while and kind of get out of Dodge. We've been in Arizona through all of quarantine, which is, I think, probably the best state you could be in for quarantine. The golf courses have been open. All the parks have been open. So there's lots of hiking. The lakes are open so you can go out in the boat. And, it's been interesting. I think, I hate fear mongering and it frustrates me to no end what I see certain news outlets and government officials doing to try to put fear monger into people and scare the dickens out of people. And it drives me crazy. And, I can go on forever talking about that, but you just got to deal with what's in front of you.
JR, I've hung out at the University of San Diego before. Did it make you want to enroll like it did for me? Go back to college?
Oh my God.
Every
the
time
hotness.
time I see that campus, every time I walk onto it, it's you want to take 25 years off your life and go back. It's crazy.
Do you tell your kid, like, dude, just take advantage? Please just take advantage. You're never going to see so many hot women in a small area ever in your life ever again. So just take advantage.
I always say I'm going to come back in my next life as my son.
Reincarnated. Yep. Oh yeah. Already got my game plan with that.
So what's been going on, man? What's been keeping you busy? And I know it's kind of been an interesting last couple months for you. So how you hanging in there, and how's everything been with you and your family?
Family is fantastic. My daughter lives in Germany, so she had to go through her own quarantine stuff over there and deal with her own problems in Germany. But they're back to normal. Everything's open there, and she's back to work. Over here, I mean, when I got fired in February, it was it was pretty depressing, and you don't have anything to do. Your normal day gets kind of messed up, or your routine. And then all of a sudden, this pandemic hit, and everybody in the world was in my situation. So, it kind of made it easier for me. I have not spent this much time at home and with my family in the last 10 years as much as I have maybe in the last 2 months, and it's been really, really good. And I'm working on some things that are going to be very, very exciting in the next couple months. And I think with the sports shutting down, with people dying for content and dying to watch stuff and dying to listen to different people and their outlooks and to hear sports when sports starts up, I think my new venture is going to be very, very well received across the world.
Yeah, well, we want to hear about that. We expect you to come on here and tell us exactly what you have going on, JR, what your next plan is.
Oh, yeah, we want to know the details here, buddy.
But you know what, man? Listen, you've had a lot of time to reflect on it. I mean, I wasn't looking to get right into it, but you've had a lot of time to reflect on your NBC situation, the interview you did with the boys over there with Spitin Chiclets. I mean, how do you reflect on it now, JR, considering it's been several weeks for you to think about it and just kind of get your life and your focus back in order?
I think everything happens for a reason. And, I think I think my time at NBC had come to an end. I think I've reached my peak there. I think that they weren't going to use me in any other more beneficial aspects that could have grown me as an analyst or as a TV personality. So I think we all talk about good things come out of unfortunate situations, and I just think I've come to see that now what I'm working on and another streaming platform that is going to be extremely exciting. That's going to allow me to be myself. It's going to allow me to be as honest as I've always wanted to be, as entertaining as I've always wanted to be, and give people a voice and actually interact with the people that want to get engaged. And that's always been my forte. And so, the end of one era leads to, to a better thing that's going to really, I think, it's going to be something that I love and something I can do wherever I am. I'm not going to be controlled or be committed to going to a certain place, for a week at a time, 5 days at a time. I can literally do this at my own volition. And that's going to make my life better. It's going to make my family's life better. And I think I'll be able to entertain more people the way that I've wanted to for as long as I want to do that. So I'm pretty excited.
How long did it take you to get over the anger, if you were angry that they let you go? And do you feel like, you just said it, you felt like they maybe handcuffed you a little bit? In what ways did NBC not really allow the real JR to come out?
They have their own problems. NBC has their own problems, and I'll let them deal with that. I think they have to do what they have to do. And, I've made my opinion very, very well known of what I think of their of the way that they handle things, and I put that behind me. They have enough problems in their network that they have to deal with, and the lies and the fake news that is strewn out through their news network and through their upper echelons. I don't need to be a part of it anymore. So I literally, it's another world. It's past, and I could care less what happens with them. I'm only excited about my future.
The peacock.
We're excited too, but your relationship with your friends over there, has that changed? Specifically Catherine and Patrick Sharp and some of the people that you became very close with.
No. We've talked many times, and my relationships are my relationships. They stay strong, and I'm very lucky to have great relationships. And that none of that has changed. None of that has changed. I had one of the best calls in the world from Mike Milbury about 3 weeks ago, and I got off the phone, and my wife and I just sat there and was like, that's true friendship. That's true friendship, to get a call from a guy that a lot of people think that we don't get along, or that don't like Mike Milbury so much because of his harsh opinions. And but I got the best call on the planet from Mike Milbury about 3 weeks ago, just to see how I was doing and that he missed me. And you know what? That's gold, man. That's better than anything that I can ever ask for.
Listen, we'll move on from this, but I'm curious. Like, when you make the comments that you made on Spitin Chiclets, we don't really need to go over exactly what you said. Like, were you completely caught off guard? Were you thinking ever at any point during the interview or the conversation that what you were saying was going to get you in trouble? And were you shocked to find out you were in trouble?
Never. Not once.
5 weeks went by. Or no, 5 days went by. I'm sorry.
Not even, no, never in a million years would have thought that. But, like I said, the world changes, attitudes change, perceptions change, and you got to roll with the punches. And I'm gonna be a better person for it, and I'm gonna be a better entertainer for it, and I'm gonna be I'm probably gonna be a better businessman because of it. So, like I said, all good things come out of terrible things. So, you just gotta suck it up and move on.
JR, trust me, I get it, man. Like, sometimes you were doing so many different Zoom calls these days, and I afterwards I'm like, God damn it! What the fuck did I say? Oh,
hey,
God.
You know what though? You can throw daggers all over the place, and you can yell and scream, and you can call people names, and you can do all that. But where's that going to get you? It's not going to get you anywhere. When I come onto my new platform and I speak the truth and I tell people what I really feel about things and things that are happening in sports and things that are happening in games, and I can tell when a ref is being awesome, and I can tell when the ref is being, bullshit sucks.
Oh yeah.
And that's gonna be more entertaining, I think, for people to be a part of. And then I can do what I've always wanted to do and bring people onto the platform to literally engage with me, have debates with me, have just to get their opinions of what they think, or ask me questions. So that's what makes me shine is the engagement aspect. So I'm gonna love that.
So other people that have made comments and maybe got themselves in hot water with whoever they work for, and I mean even recently, I'm not going to put your comments in the same category as Brendan Leipzig, but can you relate at all with maybe what he's going through right now, or what Matt Lauer went through? Again, not to associate you, JR, with those guys, but they lost their jobs too.
Yeah, you know what? It's like I said, it's a new world, and people are watching you at all times, whether you know it or not, and they're critiquing you at all times. And you have to be it, so you just got to be careful.
Well, unless you work for yourself. I mean, seriously though, JR, yeah, you got to be careful, but listen, you still have to be yourself, and being yourself work.
Well, listen, there's no question that I'll offend people again. I mean, I say things that are truthful that people don't like and won't want to hear, and whether it's my opinion or it's the truth, and people say things that I disagree with, and that drives me crazy. I watch the news all the time, and the things that comes out of Washington, I want to puke all over the television. They offend me. They offend me left, right, and center.
I get it. I just think that, if you are yourself and you own your own platform, and it works, people want to hear the edginess, they want to hear the raw, and it won't appeal to a lot of other people, but if you create your own platform, you could be that way. Dave Portnoy, whatnot. I mean, it does work, and people do want to hear that raw material one way or the other. But with the lipstick thing, though, God, it was very, very bizarre. And it's scary because it got hacked, and it's social media, man. Anytime I tweet something out, JR, I worry, I sit back, and I have to get it approved by everybody in my family. It's that pathetic. But yeah, man, it's just it's the world we live in right now. But on the other hand, people want to hear raw material.
It's true. But listen, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna throw stones. I don't think anybody should talk about any other people in that sort of demeanor. I mean, the world's tough enough as it is. We don't need to degrade people in that aspect. We don't need to continue to spread hatred in this world when we have enough as it is, spewing all over the place. It's just. I don't know. I don't like it. That's off limits to me. Just talking about people of that nature.
That was a weird one.
Yeah, that was weird. So JR, you've been a star on the ice. You've been a star off the ice, a television star. I mean, what do you walk away from just in terms of your thoughts of working for network television in general?
It's hard, man. Network television is really hard. It's you're at the beck and call of them. You're at their whim of what they want to pay you, when you show up, what you can say. And you know what? I'm not against network TV or maybe working for another network if it's the right fit. But like I said, if with everything that's going on today in the media, with everything that's going on today in technology, to be able to do different things and have my own life and have my own show and dictate where I do it, when I do it, with streaming stuff happening now, I have options. So when you have options, that's that's the best thing you can possibly have. So maybe network TV, but right now I'm looking for my own life, my own platform, and it should start by the end of May. So that's what I'm pretty excited about.
I don't blame you. I mean, it's just the way everything's trending anyway. Have you been watching this Jordan documentary? I don't know how you couldn't.
I have.
Okay.
I was riveted last night.
Oh,
because I lived it. I lived through it.
I know. That's what we're talking about. It's crazy.
I mean, JR, how many people were? Because listen, you were at the height of your stardom early in your career in Chicago. At the same time that he was a star. How much did you guys cross paths?
A lot. We. Chelly and I used to go to all the games, especially the playoff games, and stand behind the net, behind the backboard, and watch the playoff games. Chelly and him are extremely close friends, and I got to be very good friends with him and Rodman and Harper and all them, and it's really funny because as I'm watching the show, all his security guys, all of his friends, I mean, these are the guys that were mine and Chelly's security. When we went there, we had the same security guys. His best friend George, who he was on the show last night a lot. Mm-hmm. I literally was just talking to him 2 days ago, and but I lived it. I watched it. And if that doesn't make it, as an athlete, in watching Michael Jordan speak and how he handled himself and how he pushed himself and pushed others and his attitude, if that doesn't make any athlete not want to go back 25 years and play again, then you're a fake athlete, because I wanted to go back and start playing again. He motivated me so much. And, that story with Steve Kerr when he punched Jordan in the chest and, stuck up for him. I mean, that's when they had good rapport. That's when their relationship changed. And that's when Michael Jordan really started respecting Steve Kerr the most. I mean, you don't get that these days. You punch somebody in the chest now these days with these kids, and all of a sudden they think they hate you. They never like you again. They don't talk to you ever again. They lose respect for you.
Oh, no doubt.
That's the old time mentality. Just totally jacks me up, and I love it.
Well, first off, I think Steve Kerr punched Jordan in the chest, and then Jordan socked him in the eye. Yeah. And then, don't get me wrong, Steve Kerr's got that kind of a punchable face one way or the other, in my opinion. Yeah. But no. It's so funny, like the difference between watching Jordan, and I'm not a big NBA guy, but I'm watching Jordan. He's sitting back. He's got bloodshot eyes. Actually, they look green. Look like before a tornado hits you. The green eye, and he's got a cigar in his hand. He's drinking his own tequila, and he's sitting there. I'm like, no one else in the current NBA would even have that setting to do a documentary. Like, he's just so cool. Everything he did.
I think it's bourbon, by the way.
I think it's his own tequila that he owns, by the way. JR, help me on that one.
Maybe it's Holy's tequila.
Maybe it's Código. I don't know if it's Código.
He was drinking the bourbon, but he does love tequila.
Thank you.
Yeah. He does own it.
And it's so funny. Like, I feel like everything today is so petty. It's the social media. He had to deal with so much shit, and then he had to be basically the coach and mentor of the team, keep everybody in line. Not the X's and O's per se, but God Almighty, people said that you're after you watch this, you're not going to like Jordan. I like him more and more every time I watch it.
Listen, I knew what he was like. I knew what he was like. But you know what's unbelievable is look at all the footage that they've got, that they collected over years and years and years. And not only was he watched on the court and all that stuff, but they had cameras, and he had cameras on him pretty much 24/7. All this footage that they're getting and the stuff that they're getting is so priceless, and is bringing back an icon that should teach kids and teach athletes how to prepare themselves and how to make sure that they become superstars, because he is, I mean, I've known him for a long time. This guy is a freak of nature. And he is, because he has a special mind and a special talent, and he knew it, and he wanted to bring everybody else with him.
And he's cool.
Yeah, he's so cool, man.
He's super cool.
Who's that guy, JR, that you just referred to him? His personal assistant, his best friend,
George Kohler.
All right, tell me about him. But then, how do you get in the inner circle of Michael Jordan? How do you become one of his boys? It's like,
so. This is a great story. When Michael Jordan came from North Carolina for the first time to the Bulls, George was the limo driver that picked Michael Jordan up from the airport. And Michael was young. He didn't know anybody. And George picked him up and brought him to the arena and stayed with him, and then took him to the hotel afterwards, wrote down on his business card to Michael, here's my name, here's my number. If you need anything in Chicago, you want to get picked up, you want to go somewhere, you need some food, you want some recommendations, you call me. And Jordan called him the next day and asked him a couple questions, and George, came over, picked him up, and took him to a couple places. And after that, Jordan didn't have anybody touch him after that. George was his guy, picked him up every day, was next to him every day, and has been as loyal a friend as ever. Only because the kindness of George's heart to make sure that the new guy in town felt good. And Jordan has treated George to the best life he can possibly imagine. It's a wonderful friendship.
To me, it's kind of weird. Like, before games, you do your pregame skate, you get your nap. If you don't have your nap, your fucking day's all fucked up. Sometimes you play better, sometimes you don't. But Jordan would golf. We know the story with you and him doing your thing, but did you ever? We played
36 holes. We played 36 holes.
36 fucking holes. If I play 18, I'm fucked.
We each drank 12 beers each, and he went out and dropped 52 points that night.
Do you think that was normal for him to drink on game day and do that? Like, could you do that in a game?
That's what I was going to ask. Can you?
I only did it one time in Detroit in 90. I think it was 92 or 93 or 94 when we were supposed to go on strike. We were supposed to go on strike 2 days before the playoffs started. We were going to strike on the last day of the season, and we all planned it. So we went to the to the local ballet in Windsor, Ontario, and drank until 4:00. And at 4:00, they finally called and says, "No, we're not going to strike. Everybody's got to play tonight." And we were all screwed.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd you play? How'd you play in that game?
I played with a lot of guilt. I had a goal and an assist. We tied 3-3, and we got out of there.
I love it.
It was perfect. Yeah, it was perfect.
I mean, you saw how your superstardom was, and the only reason why we're bringing Jordan up so much because I mean, God, this documentary is just so captivating on so many levels. Like, imagine his the way he had to deal with different things. And yeah, social media wasn't there, but they show like cameras. Like you had that, but he was the most popular player in the world, the most popular probably person in the world. Like he had to get away. And I guess playing golf before games, which to me is just crazy, or going and gambling an AC before the night before. You just had to get away from the spotlight. He couldn't do anything.
Well, first of all, you're not going to tell Michael you can't do anything, especially with his competitive level and the way that he worked. I mean, he was the hardest worker every day, whether it was practice or a game. Nobody outworked him. Nobody. So when you have a guy that works as hard and is as obviously as competitive, and then also is as productive, are you going to tell Michael he can't play golf? I mean, look, Michael ran that team.
Oh.
I mean, Jerry Krause. Jerry Krause was like a puppet.
I know.
As a GM of that team, and Jerry Reinsdorf was like, "Oh, you want to go play baseball? Here you go, sign a baseball contract. Oh, you want to do this? Oh." So nobody's going to tell Michael Jordan what to do. I think the one guy that probably had the most effect on Michael Jordan was Jackson. And I mean, they had a respect for each other that was immense also. So I thought, it's pretty cool.
Is there any hockey player that you play with that comes close to that type of competitive level, JR, where they could never turn it off in practice? Besides Big Walt, who else would it be?
No, Chelly.
I'm joking.
Pre-lockout 04.
I'm telling you, Chelios is the spitting image in the hockey sense as Michael Jordan.
Really?
Absolute spitting image. I mean, here's a guy who rode the bicycle in the sauna 45 minutes every day, was the true ultimate competitor, played for 25, 26 years in the National Hockey League. His love for the game was immense. He would tell you he wouldn't care who you are. If you were not doing the right thing, you were going to get a verbal lashing from Chelly. Wow. And then he played hard every single night. He was a bastard to play against.
Yeah, he was.
We just had Ed Belfour on, and he said the same thing. He said that's the best teammate he ever played with.
And 100%, not even close.
Wow. That's crazy, and you wonder how a guy, not only did he stick around that long, JR, but like he was good like his entire career too, so you put the work in, and some of these guys, you think that they just have it, it's a gift, or they truly work towards it, or are they born with it? Like, is it a combination of the two?
I think there's definitely a combination of the two. You're not born. I don't think you're born with the determination and the grit and the work, the workload, with that work ethic. You have to teach yourself to accept it. You have to teach yourself how to work hard. You have to be able to, to deal with the pain and deal with the fatigue. You guys know what it's like every day when you wake up.
Andy doesn't. Andy doesn't. JR, let's be completely honest.
Yeah.
Come on.
But these guys, that's a learned trait. You're not just born to be, to be gritty or be competitive. You have that's just. That you find a way to get, and some people get it way deeper and way harder and way bigger than others.
Hey Cam, if I gave you the option to buy a car, you can either go to the dealership or you can buy it from your house, from the crib.
Oh my God, Andy, Bellman, they make it so easy for you. They'll come to you. Not to mention they'll have videos of any car that you want. They'll go right through it. They'll show you the ins and outs of everything, make it completely simple for you. And I tell you what, they're great people to work with. They've been in the game a long time, Andy. They're huge hockey fans. They do a lot of charity work in this city, and they make it comfortable for you to go buy a car at Bellman.
Exactly. And we're dealing with a pandemic. Cam didn't know that, but everybody else knows we're dealing with a real pandemic. This is serious stuff. And so that's why they're making an adjustment to make life as easy for you. Because people out there still need transportation. People out there were still planning on buying cars. Doesn't mean that you have to put that on hold. The NHL season's on pause, but your car aspirations don't need to be. www.bellman.com. You can email them. You can text them. They've got so many different ways. And again, they will do a virtual meeting with you where they'll walk around cars. They'll show you the exterior. They'll show you the interior. Answer any questions you may have about the engine or the performance. And great lease deals. You can buy a new car, pre-owned deals as well. And again, if you're a current Bellman customer, listen up to this as well, because they will come to you with a nice, clean loaner car, all sanitized. You don't have to worry about the big germs because they took care of it. They cleaned it all up for you. They'll leave you with the loaner car, take your car back to the shop, service it up for you, and then deliver it back to you. That's what I call service, Cam Jansen.
They make it too easy, Andy. Everybody's going to start doing this kind of stuff now. They're innovative. They're great people. Check them out. Bellman.com.
If you can't get there, they'll come to you. Again, Bellman, Buick, Cadillac, GMC, or right across the street, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Bellman Automotive Group, proud sponsor and big-time supporter of what we're doing here on the Cam and Strick podcast. www.bellman.com.
Before we move on to your career, Dennis Rodman, I mean, we all know. You party with him? You go to Vegas with him? Okay, did you watch the Billy Corgan Smashing Pumpkins? Mm-hmm. He's trying to keep him. You know all that kind of stuff. How was he? And were you ever like, okay, I don't know if I can handle hanging out with him?
So we used to go. Chelly and I used to go to games and hang out, and then after the games, myself, Rodman, Chelly, and Ron Harper, we used to go to Benihana afterwards, and he would order 3 or 4 bottles of sake, and we'd have a lot of fun. And then and this was the crazy thing, then he always wanted to go and hang out at gay bars and just drink at gay bars because nobody bothered him there. Nobody cared there. He was at peace. Nobody came and, wanted his autograph, and nobody, not for any other reason, just to have some peace and listen to good music and be around fun and good people. And we did it all the time. And it was wild. But Rodman is he's a different bird in his own. But you talk about competitiveness. He had a competitiveness that was deeper and more rock stars than most.
And he had a switch, man, and he could flip it. And again, it's like you get back to Phil Jackson and Jordan, whatever. Like those two guys, they were perfect for Dennis Rodman because they could handle him too, So
yeah, well, you listen to Michael talk about Rodman, and even though he doesn't agree with sometimes the way he acts or his persona or the way he looks, but that doesn't matter. It's what you put on the court. It's your attitude and what you give on the court for your teammates, and that's what Michael loved about him. You don't have to be friends with them and hang out with them, but you better have a guy that's going to go to war for you when you get on the floor or on the ice, and that's what Rodman did, night in and night out.
Let's move along to another.
Let's move along, Cam. Okay?
Well, no, I got so many other fucking questions for you about that, but we'll talk later on. But I want to talk about Gretzky for a little bit. It's kind of weird, looking up. You were so dominant as a kid, where probably everything kind of came easier. You're fucking confident, and all of a sudden, 99. Goes to lunch with you and tries to convince you to play in the Quebec League. Yeah. I mean, were you like, oh fuck?
And this is back when he was
Gretzky,
hardcore. He was the player Gretzky, which is different, right?
Yeah, he owned the team.
Yeah, this was in 1984.
Oh wow!
I was 14 years old. I mean, he's in his prime. I mean, he's scoring his 239 points or whatever the case may be. I mean, Gretzky was larger. This is when he was larger than life.
Right.
And he came to Boston, and he owned the Hall Olympics, and he invited me to his hotel to have breakfast. And, then after breakfast, wheeled me to the Boston Garden, brought me down the locker room, literally, pretty much catered to everything I wanted to do. And, he wanted me to go play up in Hull. And it was obviously it was so gratifying that the great one wanted me to go there. That's a compliment. But, my parents wanted me to stay home. They wanted me to go to school, and I turned them away, and I said, appreciate it, Gretz. And, I said, hopefully one day I'll be, I'll be facing off against you and all of that. And he goes, oh, you will. There's no question. But, I respect the decision. No word of a lie. But 5 years later, I was sitting next to him in my first All-Star game in Chicago Stadium.
Wow.
Or 6 years later. And it was, we had a conversation about that day, which was, it's pretty, those old memories are pretty cool. But, it was nice to see that Gretz had that, had that eye that knew that I had something back then.
So right then and there, there's no way you were going to college or whatever, right? You're like, okay, you know what? I'll go to the Quebec League for half a year or whatever.
No, I went to 3 years of high school, left after my junior year, and then turned pro at 18. I was done.
How was he as a coach when you, several years later? I mean, that had to be difficult considering you already had a relationship with him.
Yeah, we didn't really get along very well as a player coach. I felt that Gretz and the management brought me back to Arizona, maybe more so to sell tickets rather than to have, the type of game that I was playing on the ice. And granted, I was at a down part of my career that was unfortunate, but we all go through them. And I was actually in probably one of the best shape years that year in Phoenix, but I didn't get the shot that I thought I deserved. And that was a lot of Gretz's doing. And, we just didn't see eye to eye. I respected him. I respected the hell out of him, but I didn't enjoy him as a coach. And I don't think he enjoyed me as a player at the time.
So what's the story? You left the building when you were a healthy scratch. I mean, how mad were you, JR? Sometimes it's better to leave the situation if you're that angry,
And again, I didn't feel that I was doing anything that I couldn't do. I was ready to play. I had been out with an injury over the last couple games, got cleared by the medical staff, had been working hard, was expecting to play in Vancouver. And, last minute, this was last minute, like literally come off of warm-ups. Nobody had told me anything. And I'm always one of those guys, just talk to me, just communicate with me. Let me know that I'm not going to play. I won't do all my routine and won't get my mind all ready. Cause I had an amazing, crazy, game day ritual that I would prepare myself for games mentally. And, I had so many different, routines that I did, if I'm not going to play, just tell me, then I don't have to go through all that stuff. So he scratched me last second, right when we're sitting in the locker room getting ready, after warmups. And yeah, I was pissed. And, I'm like Mike Hudson, who was my teammate in Chicago and my roommate in Chicago for 3 years. I lived with him. He lived in Vancouver, and he was going to go to the game. And then I texted him when I got scratched and said, let's just go watch the game at a bar someplace and we can get together because we're leaving after the game. This is my opportunity to see one of my best buddies. So I left and I went right next door to the Keg. We sat at the bar. We watched the game. There was no written rule. You had to go to the press box to watch the game. There's no written rule there. So I wasn't breaking any written rules. And then as I was at the bar, somebody I'm having dinner with my buddy Mike, and somebody says, writes on social media that I'm watching the game in the bar, and it got out. So, it was stupid. Even Gretz, when he says I went to see him the next day, he goes, I don't see anything wrong with what you did, but the league has expectations, and you can't do that. So we're going to have to suspend you for a game. And I'm like, whatever, and I said to Gretz, I said, you know what? Why don't you tell the league if there's a rule, don't make it unwritten. If you can't go, write the rule. Because I'm not going to sit here and abide by unwritten rules when it's as petty as going to watch a game that I'm not playing in when I could see my buddy and I'm still on the bus at the right time to catch the plane. It's still my life.
JR, listen, I'm a fourth line plug, perhaps sometimes fifth line plugs. I think I did that same thing a couple times. Just don't tell anybody about it. So don't worry about it, man. People recognize you. They didn't recognize me.
You know how many times Gretz didn't come to games or didn't go to games if he was hurt?
I know, dude. We've all been through it. So whatever.
Listen,
you're just a big boy.
Listen, there's a lot more other things that I needed to worry about at the time than whether I was in a press box watching a shitty hockey game at the time. Vancouver versus the Coyotes. That's it's like watching grass grow back in 2006.
But
Give me a break.
But don't waste my fucking time and not tell me I'm scratched when I played fucking so many games. Like, just don't waste my goddamn time. I have a warm up that's 40 minutes long. Don't do that.
100%. By the way, I'm 8 goals shy. I'm 8 goals shy of 500.
There you go.
And, wow. and you're gonna tell me right after warm ups that I'm not playing.
Exactly.
Come on. No, you don't do that.
Do you regret not staying in Chicago longer?
It's not that I regret staying there because it wasn't my choice. I regret how it happened, right? My relationship with Bill Wirtz and I was on top of the world in 1996. Yeah. I'd come off of 50 goal seasons, 300 point seasons. Guys were making a lot of money. Eric Lindros was making $3.5 million before he even played the game. And all I wanted was 4, and they weren't giving it to me after 8 years. So I just handled it really the wrong way verbally with management and ownership. And you know what? When it comes down to it, what I've come to learn is that owners own the team for a reason, because it's their team. And they can run the team any way they want, any way they choose, and they are the boss. And unfortunately, if you're going to mess with the boss, you have to expect to get the wrath or get the heave-ho. And that's just what happened. And if I would have understood that before and my craving to stay in Chicago, I just would have shut my mouth and waited to see what would have happened in a more, I think, congenial conversation.
All right. Listen, JR, I've never asked you this, but during the 04-05 lockout, right, the NHL moves into a new system, the salary cap system, and for whatever reason, you're one of the faces of the salary cap. Is that fair? And explain why that is. Like, what was your whole role in all that?
So we were getting ready to lose the whole season, and at the time, salaries were escalating like crazy. As you know, from the time Eric Lindros came in 1993 up until 2004, salaries were going through the roof. And obviously, there's a lot of talk about salary cap and so on and so forth. I was against a hard cap, but, we're all making a lot of money. At the time, I was making $7.5 million, $8 million. And when's enough for players? And I was one of those guys who's saying, listen, we're playing a game, guys. Like, we're going to throw away all the money that we're making right now. We're going to throw all the money, the revenue that the league is making right now. We're going to tarnish our reputation as athletes and hockey players and as a league because we want no cap so that we can make as much money. And the owners, I think it's their team. They have to have a chance to earn money too and to make money too. And if there's no cap at the time, it can keep going up. When's it going to stop? Are there teams that are going to have to disintegrate and close because they can't afford the salaries anymore? So at the time, I'm like, you know what? I asked about 30 or 40 guys. What's wrong with a soft cap? One that escalates, one that's that flows with the revenue. That goes up and we can make more money or goes down. But is it worth tarnishing our reputations in the league for a soft cap? So I talked to 40 players, and a lot of the 40 players, out of the 40 players, probably 37 of them agreed with me. And, I was one of the guys who brought it to the meeting. And I stood up and I took my lashings from certain players, and I told Bob Goodnow that, that I thought he was wrong. And not many players had the guts to do that. I did it knowing that there are people in the league that agreed with me. Now, whether they spoke up and had my back or they chicken shitted out and didn't say anything, I knew that they were there. And I knew that I was right. The league right now is thriving. It's over a $4 billion league right now. Guys are making 12, 10 and a half. What's the minimum right now? $750,000. Yeah, $750,000. Our league is not suffering. Our players are not suffering. So it is what it is, and I that's one thing I never regretted. I've always done the best for the league, and I've always stood up for the league and done what I thought was best for the league. And that's just how it's turned out for me.
Guys behind the scenes, I know a lot of guys were agreeing with you, but some of the guys behind the scenes were fucking going at you about it, eh?
Sure, of course. I took my beatings from everybody, but I don't give a shit. I could care less what people thought about me. One thing you can't say about me is I went on the ice and half-assed it. That I didn't do my job, didn't entertain, didn't get the job done. You can not like my opinion. There's other opinions that I don't like. I could give two shits, and I could give two shits then, and I can give two shits now. There's certain people like that Alan Walsh. I
was going to ask you about him. What's his deal? What's his deal with you?
Because he was one of the cronies that was probably taking money from the NHLPA back in the 2000s anyway. Him and the rest of the cronies at the NHLPA that probably loved their job and knew that there was a lot of money coming in and didn't want that to change. And he's a player. He's obviously a manager and an agent. He wants as much money for his players as possible to line his own pockets. And, he's always going to be with the players. I'm with the players too, but, I'm not going to sell myself out, to ruin the league just because I want my own pockets lined. And that's, I think Alan Walsh has always been a guy who's hated me because of my ability to be individual and have my own opinion. And, he's nothing but an egomaniac, agent that thinks his shit don't stink. And I've always laughed every time he's tried to throw stones at me, because I would like to know some of the stuff that Alan Walsh was doing behind the scenes with the PA at the time also.
Have you ever talked to him?
No, I have no desire to talk to him. I don't need to waste my time with guys that slander crap like him.
Yeah, I was curious because he comes at you on Twitter. Now he's come at me before too, actually, just for the record. So, but I just always wondered, like, what's JR's opinion of this guy coming at him publicly? Like this happened years ago. At some point, you got to move on and turn the page, right?
Oh, I mean, listen, that's probably the third time that I've mentioned his name since I've retired. So, that tells you how much he means in my life. I don't need to worry or waste my time with donkeys like that.
I got you. Hey, before we let you go, I was talking to Big Walt today. Just, listen, everyone knew you had offensive ability and scored a lot of goals and, put up good numbers. But probably the most underrated part of your game, and you talk to players who played in your era, JR, they talk about your toughness, man. Like, how many what's the worst injury you ever had? Because you broke your jaw about 25 times.
How do you feel now, by the way, JR? Like, how's your head now?
How do you feel now?
I actually feel pretty good right now. I'm very lucky, but that slap shot that I took in the jaw in 2004 in Madison Square Garden shattered my jaw in 23 places. That was gruesome. That was no fun at all. The two knee injuries that I got from Darian Hatcher, the broken jaw I got from Darian Hatcher. It's just one after another. But I love that part of the game, that ferocity, and that the being able to play through pain and play through things that most people wouldn't play through. To me, that's a character tester, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It sucks the next day, but
how many days? Like the worst one though, and I've been through it on a mild level, and I probably should have been through more hardcore concussion problems. But did you have to sit in the room and do the fuck? I can't look outside. Oh, yeah. The sun's there. Yeah. How long was the longest one?
No, it's funny. No, it's funny because I don't say funny, but after that broken jaw in Madison Square Garden, I was out for 8 weeks, and then we're in the playoffs, and that was probably one of the best teams I've ever been on, the 2004 Philadelphia Flyers. We're playing that's after I scored one of my favorite goals against Eddie Belfour in Toronto in Game 6 to end Toronto's run.
Eddie, he never brought that up.
He never brought that up, Jared. Very, very bizarre.
Yeah, of course not. That's right. I mention it to him every time I see him just to make sure he remembers.
I bet.
But I got hit by Pavel Kabina in against Tampa in game 3, on game 3 of the conference final. And he hit me so hard that I kind of blacked out a little bit, but didn't go down, got back. And it was like, that was my second major concussion within 2 months. And that whole summer was probably the worst summer that I've ever experienced. Like I'm usually a golfer, most every day, and go out in the boat. I found myself like in the room sleeping late in the days, and irritated, and I just didn't do it. Yeah, it was 5 months of just being really uncomfortable, real irritable, and that was the worst. That's the worst the concussions ever got to me.
Hey, did you like Keenan and did you like Hitch? And are there any similarities between those two? I
loved Keenan. Keenan taught me how to be tough, actually. Yeah. Keenan taught me how to be durable. He taught me how to accept criticism, and he taught me how to have thick skin. And he taught me how to be physical. I never hit anybody until I started playing for Mike Keenan. Then my first preseason game in Kalamazoo, he grabbed me by the throat on the bench. Ooh. And literally threatened my playing career if I didn't finish my checks. Wow. I'd be swinging by checks. So the next thing I know, I'm 150 pounds. I'm hurling myself into these guys, just finishing my check to please my coach. And I found that people loved it. I make a big hit. People stood up and cheered and loved it. Then I'd score a goal and people would stand up and cheer. And it kind of became my persona. When my first playoff game in St. Louis, I got my nose cut and 17 stitches on my nose and then lost my teeth by Glenn Featherstone cross-checking in the mouth.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and then I scored a goal, 4 minutes after coming out of the penalty box. And I remember we won the game, we won the series, and the picture of me in the locker room with this huge cut and blood all over my nose and a big smile with no teeth. And, people love that picture. And I think that picture kind of, when you're happy, when you look like shit. Oh, yeah. And you've been in that sort of punishment and pain, but you're happy because you just accomplished something, that teaches you something. And I think that moment was really a learning curve for me. That Keenan made sure everybody on the Blackhawks were. Keenan wanted everybody to be uncomfortable. We had fights every single day in practice. Mike yelled and screamed at everybody. He didn't want anyone to be comfortable around the locker room. Comfort brings lackadaisical play and brings, a lot of bad habits into a game. And Mike didn't want that. And at times it was hard, but that's all I knew. When it comes to Hitch, I don't know if I've ever played for a coach who was as smart or as who a student of the game as Hitch. I didn't agree with. I didn't like his whining. His whining attitude or the way that he wanted to be the man and control everything and control all the players. And, that nobody had their own personality. He wanted everybody to be, robots in the Hitchcock system. But his system was extremely good. And he is one of the smartest coaches and one of the best hockey minds that I've ever played for. I just hated his whining. And he hated mine. He hated my whining. He's just so... it was that kind of the love drive you crazy relationship.
JR, get the fucking puck out of the zone.
JR, why are you always on your own page? Why are you always doing everything all yourself?
Hey, before I let you go, your upbringing was kind of was interesting, JR, because you moved around all the time, and you're like one of these local, current youth hockey players who goes and plays for teams in different cities and different states, all over the place. Gets on planes to play for different teams and whatever. So you were kind of ahead of the game from that standpoint. Now it's almost normal for a lot of these kids who are chasing the NHL dream.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was way before its time, right? A lot of parents sacrifice their own lives for their kids in sports and stuff like that. And you see it a lot now. I think even more so now, parents have their kids locked into one sport. Mm-hmm. These kids are being bred to play a game, whether it's their physical fitness, the way they're being trained off the ice, what they're eating and how they're training, where they're playing. I think it's crazier now, but back in the day, hockey at the time wasn't as competitive, and you had to find the really good to play. And I was fortunate to grow up in the East Coast and the Northeast, and there was a team in New Jersey that was the powerhouse, and so I just traveled to play there just to try to win a championship, and we won 2 back-to-back national championships. It's no different than Kevin Garnett going to the Golden State Warriors to try to win a
Jordan didn't do that. Jordan didn't do that. Jordan didn't do that.
Or Kevin Durant. Or Kevin Durant. Yeah. I don't like to correct people. Kevin Durant.
Yeah. Yeah. Kevin Durant, your guy. My bad. You're right. Exactly.
Jesus, Andy.
As you can see, I'm not a basketball fan either. So
you're a Jordan fan like we all are. That's all it is.
Exactly.
JR, we're a fan of you too, big boy, man, and I appreciate you coming on. I do, man.
Can't wait to hear what you have coming up next, dude. JR. Honestly,
absolutely.
man. And there's so much other stuff we could have gotten into with you, man. I wanted to talk about your World Junior career, growing up playing with guys like Mike Modano, who we've had on the show.
I'll come back. I'll come back in a couple of weeks. We can talk some more. But you guys are awesome, and so just look for my new streaming company to come out. It's going to be called No Filter Broadcast.
Ooh,
so
let us know if you're let us know if you're hiring.
No shit.
It's you guys will be a part of it. I guarantee you. So
love it.
You guys will be a part of it. Guarantee you. So I really appreciate it, guys. A lot of fun.
All right, JR.
Right on, big
Take
boy.
care, man.
Take care, buddy.
Okay. See you guys. Bye.
All right, that was JR, Jeremy Roenick. I got to be honest, Cam. I don't think you're cool enough to hang out with Michael Jordan.
Hell no. God.
But I would be.
I mean, that's just the most ridiculous thing in the world. You're forcing me to be mean to you. You're forcing me to be fucking mean to you. And then people are going to be like, Cam, why are you so mean to Andy? I'm like, look what he does. Look what he does. You're cool enough to hang with MJ. Get on with you. You're just like everybody. You're just like everybody else in St. Louis.
Who says they're friends with them?
I'm best friends with. No, you're not.
I know.
Does he have your number?
I would never say that. I would never.
Does
say
he
that.
have your number? Oh, he doesn't. Do you have his number?
I gotta
Does
be
he
honest.
know your fucking name? No, he doesn't.
A lot of people say that.
Get on with yourself.
I will say this. Michael Jordan's one of those figures that, as much as I think it would be cool to be his friend, he's almost, such a larger-than-life figure.
He's hard to hang out with.
I'd almost rather, not ever.
No, I want to be invited to his.
I just want to go to his house and hang out.
Yeah. And creep around a little bit. I want to creep around his house.
That's what you do. You came to my house the first time Cam comes to my house.
That's what I do.
You're right. You're inside my wife's closet, you're in my refrigerator.
No, just her underwear.
What are you doing?
I'm creeping around. That's what I do, baby. I'm going to go in your fridge. I want to look around. I could tell a lot about somebody when I look through their fridge. Oh, well, you're not an alcoholic. I can tell you that because there's no booze in here. You're very healthy. That's why you're 130 pounds.
I know you. I know you love playing for the Devils and the St. Louis Blues, but do guys get jealous of other players in the league who get to be superstars in specific markets?
I would think so. Remember we asked Kovalchuk that? I'm like, God, did you want to get drafted by the Thrashers? If you would have got drafted by the Leafs
liked it there, though.
Or the Canadian, but
I know.
No, I don't think he
knew.
But
what about New York? What I'm getting at,
Chicago,
what I'm getting at is Roenick was a megastar in Chicago at the same time as Jeremy Roenick.
No, you said Jeremy Roenick twice there. Michael Jordan.
At the same time as Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
With Chris Chelios. And would there have been a better place in the country to be a superstar than Chicago in the early 90s?
Cruising around Viagra Triangle. Cruising around, everybody knows.
It's called the Gold Coast.
Where Trappers is?
No, you call it. They do call it Viagra.
Oh, fuck. We stayed right there at Sutton Place.
Yes.
And there's the International House of Pancakes right next door. You go ahead and oh my God, Hugo's Frog Bar.
I'm trying to think what the famous restaurant bar is right there.
Creeping around, baby.
Gibson's is there too.
Gibby's, yeah. Have a steak, have some wine, creep around, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
Fun stuff.
What was your favorite city?
I need to stop saying creep around. I need to say hang around.
I know you're kind of.
You're
creeping me out.
It was kind of.
What was your favorite city to go to?
Chicago was definitely one of them. New York, but we never stayed in New York, so. Playing for the Devils, we never really stayed in New York. Anytime we played New York, when I played for the Blues, we'd stay in Jersey and then kind of commute.
When you play for the Devils and you play the Rangers,
we stay in a hotel.
You don't drive to the game, or
we stay in a hotel in Jersey during the pregame skate.
What?
So we stay the night in our houses. Then we get up, we go to practice at West Orange, and then we take a bus right there, sleep for our nap, have our team meal right there, and then get on the bus, have a police escort, and they take us right to MSG.
How long is MSG from where you would play in Jersey? How far
it's like a 6-mile ordeal, but it takes about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
Wow. So it's that close mileage-wise.
That's why we had 7 miles.
And did you and your girl? Would you guys go hang out in the city?
Oh my God, my girl and all my police buddies would take. They would all take either a train in or take an Uber, or one of my buddies would take a big Escalade or whatever, pack them in.
Easy.
A Dan Bellman Escalade.
I drive the Escalade.
No, you don't.
You drive
a fucking
You drive
Volvo.
the pink Jeep with little.
You drive
wheels.
a Volvo like my grandmother did.
My
and she was a fucking badass.
My Volvo's sick.
Okay.
XC90 Racing Series.
Racing Volvo racer.
It is.
I'm gonna bet on that Volvo racer.
Dude, it's
Get on.
nice. You told me how nice it was.
It looks somewhat
when I
cool.
rolled up.
It looks somewhat cool.
Tony
Well, you
Twist's
had like
house.
a Geo Metro before that.
No, I didn't.
Oh, Twister Barrel let you in the house. Hey, he's like, who's this guy coming in here? Who's this? Then he scared the shit out of you.
Yeah, he did. All right, that was cool, man.
Very cool.
Good stuff with JR. Listen to that. Give us your feedback, man. We want to see some comments. I love the comments when people are just killing Cam, by the way. So if you want to go ahead and throw some of those in there.
Pretty easy
like
to do.
He curses too much. Or,
did I say that? Was I that bad
Or he
today?
cuts. No, you were good today.
I said creep a lot. I got to stop saying creep
If he
now.
says creep too much, if he cuts me off, if he talks over me.
I don't give a shit about that.
Just go ahead and put those in the comments.
Yeah. So he could. No, please don't
and then
do
I'll
that.
text him to Cam.
Then he
won't sleep all night.
Here's how it goes. He'll correct right before we'll have a Hall of Famer on. And he'll be like, hey, by the way, here's the comments saying about you. You talk too much. I'm like, good. There, my confidence level goes 0.
That's not
And then,
true.
like, yeah.
That's
fuck,
hilarious.
Sucks, man.
That's hilarious.
You know.
You're doing great, dude.
Thanks, dude.
All right, we're having fun on this
we are.
Cam and Strick podcast. Roenick was a good one. Cam had been trying to get Roenick on for several months.
It didn't work.
I tried to get him on for about 10 minutes, and we got him back on here on the Cam and Strick podcast.
Good for you.
He was great.
He was awesome.
And we look forward to what his next move is, man. As always, brought to you by the Bellman team, Bellman.com, BEHLMANN.com. I always spell it out because people may not know how to spell it.
Yeah.
They're located in Troy. Check it out. They've got incredible inventory, new cars, used cars. You know, Jamie Ryan, our producer, we're going to go out there and shoot some video soon.
Yes, we are.
And we're going to create some great content out there with our boy Dan
We'll get
Bellman.
you a booster seat.
For who?
We'll get you. I'm pointing at you a booster. Jamie's like 6'2".
What do you think I need a booster seat?
And an Escalade? That's a big car for you, homeboy.
I could drive
Oh,
that.
we'll see about that. With
Okay.
a booster seat.
All right, and Cope 24, and of course, our new partner, Car Shield. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that moving forward
Absolutely.
as well. Really excited about bringing Car Shield on board with us here on the Cam and Strick podcast. That was episode 38, man. We're cruising right through these. Jeremy Roenick, the USA Hockey Hall of Famer. And by the way, we partied together last year. He was in town for Game 6, probably working for NBC
I'm
at
sure
the
I
time.
remember that.
And we were hanging out, my wife,
I'm sure you remember that.
Holly, Darcy.
I remembered your wife. We definitely didn't remember you, but that's all good.
He and my wife had the same pants on that night. they were like white, like ripped jeans.
That's kind of hot.
They were both wearing
Well,
them.
they called each other beforehand, I
You think so? All right, we got to get out of here.
heard. See you guys. We love you.